Hey everyone, my name's Nick Kundra. I'm the founder and CEO of Partender. Whoa. Boom. And we do bar inventory, reducing the time it takes owners and managers to do it from a frustrating 6 hours to just 15 minutes. And we do it all by digitizing this crazy archaic paper pen clipboard process into a few taps and swipes on iOS, Android, and now the web. And we just celebrated our 3rd-year anniversary last week, and I'm proud to announce that we just surpassed over 15,000 bars on the platform. Customers are calling us the best thing since the lift of Prohibition. And that's probably why we're on Bar Rescue every Sunday night at 9/8 Central. But it's not just John Tapper that loves us. We've also been blessed and honored to have some really great investors join our team. And our clients save over $10,000 a month. And we think we're successful because we've solved 3 real problems. The first is this current process of doing inventory, where you pick up the bottle, guess on a 10-point scale how full it is, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6 full. But my 0.6 can be your 0.7, your 0.5, so it's about 20% inaccurate. And then we write it all down and type it into Excel, just to figure out what we have in stock and what we need to order. Because it takes so long to do, no one does it. So if no one's counting the cash in the register at the end of the night, what happens? It disappears. And in fact, about 23% of booze just walks out the door due to overpouring, breakage, spillage, you name it. And this causes 60 to 80% of bars and restaurants to fail within their first 3 years, or $30 billion of loss a year. So how do we solve it? Again, it's all about speed. Instead of guessing how much liquor is in the bottle, you just tap to wherever it is, right below the C in Cointreau, move it there, and then swipe to the next bottle on your shelf. That's it. That's inventory. Forbes just called it like Tinder for inventory. Tap, swipe, that's done. When you're done, hit run report, and we now email you an Excel spreadsheet and allow you to now place your orders right from the web, something that we launched just recently. You can now go ahead and do full inventory, ordering, receiving, and get all of your accounting, P&L's, balance sheet done in as little as 15 minutes. So why are we here today? So we've actually been growing quite well off revenue. When Jason mentioned it was a food and bev sort of centric event, I've asked a few investors about food and beverage investors and haven't heard a whole lot back, so I'm really glad to see some folks here. But honestly, actually about last fall, we submitted about 12 RFPs to the corporate enterprise, and 2 weeks ago, every single one of them got approved. So we've been doing this thing where we grow off revenue and then reinvest those profits into our team. To scale up to 12, that's going to be a little challenging to do. You don't want to let Marriott down. So I'm actually looking for really cool, awesome food and bev investors that get the space from inventory to supply chain to more. And on top of that, because we're maturing as a company, we're also maturing as a product. So I'm looking to hire head of product, folks in React, Python, Django, and even some folks specific to sales and customer success. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Questions?
Thank you. Could you talk a little bit about the target bar size or end user? So a large problem we see with small business owners, which many bars are, is even though you can show them that the numbers will be better for them, oftentimes there's a lack of interest or time in order to actually set the system up. Are you going after bigger venues like Buffalo Wild Wings or going after the smaller mom and pop bars, or both?
So that's a great question. We started out as mom and pops. We started in Gainesville, Florida. A lot of mom and pops there. But in the first 9 bars, we had folks from very big brand coffee places to places like Buffalo Wild Wings, et cetera. So we've actually grown from mom and pops to now like the corporate enterprise. And the enterprise world is very small. So we've seen a lot of success stories in our initial pilots, which is why we're sort of blowing up in that space. There's 2 interesting things. On the SMB side, really across the board, bartenders just hate doing inventory. You're literally there. I started this company because I was frankly trying to meet up with a girl who was stuck doing inventory until 7 in the morning. And I thought she was giving me the runaround, and I found out she wasn't. She was actually stuck there until 6:30, couldn't even place her orders on time. So bartenders hate doing inventory. If it's speedy and it's accurate as well, too, as you guys saw here, that's up to 99.2%. You really get their buy-in to actually go ahead and move forward the project. Now, on top of that, the GMs, they hate shrinkage. They're all about the P&Ls, the bottom line, et cetera. When 40% of your costs are inventory and the other 40% is your service and labor to upsell that into a $9 glass, when they see less of it going away, you get the buy-in on both sides. And that's kind of across the board from the SMB to the enterprise. So we're really covering everyone from the mom and pop to mega resorts, hotels, nightclubs. Guys are already using our system today. And we've taken them, by the way, from honestly never doing inventory to doing it once a month. And those that were doing inventory once a month to doing it every week, sometimes even every day or shift, which is kind of crazy because enterprise mandates are usually quarterly, and now they're doing it twice or thrice a week.
Great presentation, great product. What's the competitive landscape?
So that's a great question. The competitive landscape is really two segments. Those that have really high hardware costs, and those that have very little functionality. So things like AccuBar, which is an old school, it's a great system when it came out in the early 2000s, but it's still kind of an old school Palm Pilot. It just shows a generic outline of a bottle, and you're not sure if you're above or below the R in bullet rye, so there's about a 10 to 20% variance right there. And then it ranges from RFID bottle toppers, which are expensive, and if I don't teach my staff how to reassociate RFID technology, they might be pouring out bullet rye, but it's ringing up as Grey Goose because they didn't make that switch over, and now their numbers are done for the month. And then on top of that, there's guys like Barkeep, et cetera, which is you're paying hundreds of dollars for a proprietary version of someone else's Excel. It might have all the bells and whistles. It might have some integrations, but not everyone even puts all their recipes in their point of sale, so that's kind of a moot point. But it's really just guessing on a 10-point scale, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, and then if you're typing it into something like Barkeep or an ERP, it's not really saving you time, which means your bartenders at the end of the day at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're just going to scribble stuff down. And it's not really solving the pain point. So the pain is about speed and accuracy. So that's kind of the landscape. High hardware costs or Excel.
And what about automation? Like being able to take a picture and...
Yeah, that's a great question we get. So we've been looking to taking a picture of the bottle and identifying how much is in there. There's a few major caveats to that. The first is that bars aren't really well lit for a reason, like ambiance. Even if you got house lights turned up, you guys know it's kind of hard to see it. In urban environments too, you actually have a lot of bottles stacked right behind or in front of each other. So if you look at like taking a picture head on, we can go ahead and get an equation. We're already 99.2% through some proprietary methods. If you have to go ahead and like have bottles arranged in different ways, it makes that a little more challenging. Also, some of our early advisors were part of the Department of Defense and even said that it might be able to estimate where it is. Like it might put the hard line right here, and then you actually have to move it up here, et cetera. So if you're already going to potentially go through that process of moving it up, you might as well just skip that step and make it as simple as tapping and swiping.
Great. That's very good. That's all we have time for. So, and I love the bold move of putting alcohol above the laptop that we present all of these things on. That's just the coolest.